Welcome. I'm Dr. Bob Turinkin from the MITRE Corporation, and as the MITRE CTF project lead, I want to welcome all of you to tonight's CTF event, the reception, recap of the event, and more importantly, award ceremony. Tonight is about the recognition of the achievements of the students. But I'd like to first acknowledge some very important attendees. First of all, in McLean, our live physical locations for this event are here in Tampa and McLean. My co-host, Pat Benito, will be helping to facilitate this evening's event. I want to introduce the tech leads for the CTF. John Palmer, could you stand up? John is our technical lead. Robert Clark, who isn't here, he might be here a little bit late. He's coming from his school. Yeah. So one of the things you'll get to learn very quickly is we eat our own dog food. So we have a lot of interns that we employ. We feel it's extremely important to building our pipeline, and they play an instrumental role in executing this successful event. I want to acknowledge our guest speakers for this evening and in appreciation. So we have David Shearer from IC Squared, Steve Foote from MITRE, and Sri Sridharan from the Florida Cyber Center, located at the University of South Florida. Did I get it right? Thank you. In McLean this evening, we have some hosts for giving out our awards. Namely, we have Steve Batiste, who runs our MITRE Cyber Intern Program in McLean. And we have Dan Waddell and a number of his colleagues from ISC Squared who are standing ready to recognize the students of the winning teams who are physically in McLean right now. Of course, we're expecting some government attendees today. Ms. Hersey from our Central Command is scheduled to arrive, so we're kind of waiting patiently for her. We have a number of key industry and academic representatives that we're really pleased to have join us this evening. And of course, most importantly, the students, the coaches, the teachers, and the parents of all the competitors. Tonight, we're hosting this event live, in addition to these physical locations, on a YouTube live stream event. So some of you may have been asked to sign a photo release. That video that we are recording will be made available, so you can look at that offline in the upcoming weeks. The recap video that we also will be showing as part of this, which highlights the 25 hours of the Capture the Flag endeavor, that will also be made available, and we'll post that on our YouTube, on MITRE Cyber Academy website in the future. So for those who are on the web attending, we have an online chat system. You should already be interacting with facilitators. And so during the periods where we are asking for questions, feel free to enter your questions and we'll get those announced in the rooms. So to start, I would like to recommend or thank all of our sponsors for MITRE Cyber Academy and the MITRE and IC Squared Capture the Flag Cyber Challenge. MITRE, IC Squared, and IC Squared Foundation have been together as a partner for 5 years. This is our 5th anniversary of running this competition, and we have been growing for those 5 years. So thank you. We have a very packed evening this evening. We'll start by having, like we usually do, a very important cyber perspectives discussion, bringing together government, industry, academia, and FFRDCs to talk about key aspects of cybersecurity, the importance of building a cyber talent pipeline. That's an important learning experience for all of us, and I hope that is an interactive session for all of us to participate in. We'll then go on to highlight our Cyber Capture the Flag competition, especially its use as a corporate initiative for conducting interviews and recruiting and building that cyber talent pipeline as we formalized it. And then finally, more importantly, we'll have the award ceremony to recognize the students and the competitors. As you probably know, cyber is in fact a global problem. Cyber threats are all around us and can take out our infrastructure or our important data at any second. So we need to be prepared for that. And we all need to be working together to be part of the solution. So the challenge, though, is the supply is greater than the demand right now. And it's especially true in the cyber career field. Cyber jobs are increasing in every business sector. The number of qualified cyber professionals to fill those positions is very rare. In fact, IC Squared just ran in their data assessments the numbers, and there's a need out there for over 300,000 trained cybersecurity professionals today that are not being filled. And that growth rate is expected to be 2 times faster than all the other IT jobs in the country. The salaries, interestingly enough, for cyber jobs are higher than all the other IT jobs at the moment, on the order of $15K more for starting salaries. So in short, cyber professionals are needed. They are definitely at the forefront of protecting our government and our critical infrastructure and for our nation. And that's why it's extremely important for us to have a common goal to build a strong, successful cyber workforce. And we do this by trying to work and partner with government, industry, and academic partners to foster these collaborative initiatives that ultimately can get us to that goal. And to that end, we are all executing a very vibrant STEM outreach program. And with our partnership with IC Squared, we've been putting in place many science, technology, engineering, and math resources in the cyber area that allow educators and students to learn, practice, and compete in their cyber skills. They're freely available, they're out there for the public, and we're working hand in hand with educators and clubs and schools to try to adopt them. And finally, from a business perspective, we have formalized what we are calling this talent pipeline model that entails the process of using events like the Capture the Flag as a recruitment tool. Identify top students, get them into the workforce as an intern over multiple years working with the government or with FFRDCs or with industry, and evaluate them on their performance throughout this entire process. Ultimately, to get them to the end state, which is becoming a strong professional cyber engineer. So that's what we're about. That brings us to our theme for this evening. We're very much honored to have a cross-cutting set of guest speakers from the government, from industry, and from academia to talk about some important issues in cybersecurity and the need for cyber talent pipelines. And again, for logistics, we're going to hold questions. We're going to ask all of us to kind of hold your Q&A for the guest speakers until all three have had an opportunity to talk, and then I'll bring them back up together at the podium and we'll open up the floor. So with that, our first speaker for this evening, it's my pleasure to introduce David Shearer, Chief Executive Officer for IC Squared. David spent 14 years with the Coast Guard, and he's held executive positions in the U.S. federal government and private industry. Prior to being selected as the CEO, he was IC Squared's Chief Operating Officer, with more than 27 years of experience in IT service management, application integration, and information security. Please welcome David Shearer.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate that. And just, I annotated on that photo release that there's a condition that you got to put a flat top on me. If you could do that, my wife's going to be really pleased, and so I want to find out who photoshops that for you. So it's great to be here. It's an honor to be here for Capture the Flag ceremony, and it's great to collaborate on these types of things. I mean, how cool is this? Talk to some proud parents of the students that are here, and I know everyone's kind of waiting to see what the turnout's going to be. So I want to talk a little bit about IC Squared, but you know, what is this IC Squared organization all about? So, you know, so when I was a kid, when I was a student, we didn't have these capture the flag types of things. I got to be honest. I mean, we did have computers. There were computers that exist, but there weren't that many personal computers. And capture the flag was probably more about flag football than it was about what we're here tonight to talk about. So there you are. The times changed. But we are in a time of unprecedented technology. And with that technology comes convenience. With convenience comes exploitation. And that's just the nature of crime, and that's the nature of bad actors. And so we have a responsibility as a community to come together and try to find ways to allow us to embrace this technology in a safe way, in a way that doesn't take the benefits away, but also doesn't allow people to be exploited. So I want to talk a little bit about what ISC Squared is all about as an international organization. I work for 13 board members. They're international board members from around the world, and they remind me that we're just not a U.S.-centric organization. We have members in 160 countries. And I spend a fair amount of time in a tube at 38,000 feet traveling around the world to evangelize what we call, what's come to be known as cybersecurity, information security. We'll talk a little about that. So, ISC Squared plays a global role in helping to build and maintain the cybersecurity pipeline. For those that are unfamiliar with us, we're the largest nonprofit organization of certified cyber information software and infrastructure security professionals worldwide. We have nearly 110,000 members in over 160 countries, which I've mentioned. Our members provide innovation, expertise, and hard work to strive to make ISC Squared's vision, which is to inspire a safe and secure cyber world. And that's a pretty hairy, audacious goal, to inspire a safe and secure cyber world. Inspiration takes on many, many different forms. There's a lot of inspiration in the room here tonight. There's anticipation in the room tonight, and virtual rooms out there as well, what the results are. But people are being inspired, and the students here are inspiring us, and the teachers and mentors are inspiring them, and this is really, really cool stuff. This is where the rubber meets the road. That's why it's so exciting to be involved in these types of things. So most people probably know ISC Squared or our CISSP. That's our most popular credential, and that stands for Certified Information Systems Security Professional. And we went over a milestone just this July of 100,000 CISSPs worldwide. So that was a pretty big deal for us. We thought that was pretty cool. And we're real proud of our membership that's out there. And we recognize them through award ceremonies. And it's probably the proudest thing that I do as a CEO. I travel around them at every one of those award ceremonies where we award our members for what they're doing within the profession. And it is a very great sense of pride for me to hear how our members are inspiring safe and secure cyber world. And so I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy coming to events like this where we see the young minds, right? I'm not going to evangelize and convince everyone here to become an ISC Squared member. I get that. But nevertheless, you're in the game, and we're all about the game. We've got some great representation here from MITRE. We've got a fantastic local institution in USF and FC Squared. And Cherie's a fantastic leader. You can hear from there. There's a lot of people in this game. ISC Squared can't do it together, and it's events like this where we come together for the greater good of the global cause. And I know it sounds like, a bunch of motherhood and apple pie, that type of thing, but that's what we need to do. We need to come together as a global community. It's a global challenge, requires a global sustained response, and we do that through collaboration and building relationships with people, because people are a key component of this response. And training and educating people are absolutely essential to what we're going to do. So, how do we contribute to this pipeline? At least our view of it, maybe a little bit skewed, because not to be too full of ourselves, but so our CISSP recently got ACE accredited for ACE college credit. So our official CISSP boot camp now can be awarded college credit. We think that helps our returning veterans and folks in training decisions, that when you say you're going to go to some seminar, well, you go to a seminar and actually walk away with 3 semester hours. It works well with our global academic program, where we're trying to collaborate with colleges and universities as far as Japan and Australia, which we've recently signed agreements with universities there, and try and come in and help springboard universities that need the help to get their programs going. And whether it's co-creating, we're working in middle schools and high schools, trying to bring education into that part of the learning experience for our young. And then we have a safe and secure online program through our foundation. We have our co-director here tonight, Patrick Raven, who's just joined ISC Squared. Proud to see him here. Our foundation is where we actually go into schools and teach educators, teachers, administrators, and kids, most importantly, how to be safe and secure online. And just, 2.5 weeks ago, we added a seniors program, because we think seniors are vulnerable. I know my dad, he's 94 years old, just turned 94 last year. My dad has been to the end of the internet at least 2 or 3 times. I'm absolutely convinced of it. I know everyone thinks that's a foolish brag, but my dad has been to the end of the internet. He looks at everything. He tells me, Dave, there's stuff up there. My dad, you don't have to go everywhere. You don't have to, you don't have to click on everybody. He feels compelled, you know. So we had our first launch session with seniors. We brought into our headquarters facility here in Clearwater, and it was a huge success. And we believe that we look at those people that are most highly likely to be exploited online. And you know, we all know the telemarketers. I worry about my parents, just someone calling them on the phone, let alone someone doing a phishing exercise or trying to exploit them through what seems to be something that's contacting them from the bank, that type of thing. My dad's already opening up, you know, the registry for every new Windows operating system. I see, you know, Windows 10 unleashed. I'm like, Dad, you're 94 years old. You don't need to know what the registry's all about. Because I gotta understand how this thing works. He's so inquisitive, you know, he's so inquisitive. So we recently brought that on. We're also an ANSI accredited certification body. Our certifications are ANSI accredited through ISO 17024. So that means that there's some rigor in the process with which we are to say that we're ANSI accredited, and we subscribe to international standards as an international organization and trying to advance the profession internationally. Through our foundation, we look at the threat horizon, we do research. Bob mentioned our global information security workforce study. We put that out. There are things that we tease out of that, looking at the threat horizon and looking at the profession itself. For example, underrepresented minorities. Women represent 10% of the profession globally. 10%. That's a problem. So I always get on my soapbox and say, look, daughters, nieces, come on, let's get them interested in the profession. We need to see more women. There are other underrepresented minorities. So we're all about trying to tease that data out and finding ways that we can look at that, because our study says that 1.5 million deficit between now and 2020. That's the type of pipeline we need to fill. So we're talking about the pipeline. It's a big pipeline to fill. Sheree and I are going to be very busy. We're going to be very, very busy people trying to fill that pipeline. And we're doing it as different organizations, and that's fine because we've got a good collaborative spirit. We know what the end game is. The end game isn't how big ISC Squared gets or how big the next person gets. It's how we come together as a community and look at this and be on the right side of the law, on the right side of what needs to happen to make this a safe and secure side of the world. So we do those things. We require our members to have continuing professional education. And so with some universities, that's attractive. I mean, in days of yore, is it formal education or is it certification? More and more today, we see that these can be complementary things. That when students leave a 4-year degree or a master's program, they go into professional certification that requires continuing education. So they continue to sharpen and hone their skills, and it's not, you know, out the door and you check the block. Because this profession, now don't take this wrong, because I've got some management training in my background, but management positions don't change as fast as cybersecurity positions. The technology is changing like that, and we have to be used to and committed to lifelong learning. And that's what we're doing here tonight. We're looking for opportunities for hands-on opportunities to test skills, which I applaud NIDA for because it allows us to test those skills in a safe environment. What I mean by that is increasingly we have people that are using operational organizations, government and private industry organizations, their systems to test their skills. And they're doing that under the guise of research. Okay? It, at a minimum, has an ethical question mark. Very highly, it's a criminal activity. And so, you know, I applaud these types of initiatives where we can do things in cyber ranges in a safe environment that allows people to test their skills, but doesn't constitute a crime. Because I'm a firm believer that, you know, rehabilitated criminals is not a real good career path. And what I mean by that is, so I'm going to go out and hack the Pentagon because I watched, you know, Black Hat movie or, you know, or somewhere where we're glamorizing bad actors, or we're glamorizing hacking, bad actor, malicious hacking. And so, you know, once I get notoriety, I'm like, you're in jail. Now I'm going to get a really big paying job. I don't tend to think that that's really a good way to go about what your career path is. And so when we do these types of things, we allow students to test their skills and continue to enhance those skills in a safe way that doesn't put people's information, property, fraud, those types of things at risk. That's not what we want. We want you on the good side of it. I mean, whether you're an ISC Squared member or not, we want you to help us inspire a safe and secure online world. You know, we want people to feel that it's safe to actually engage in internet-based activity, right? Cyber activity. And we can only do that by taking the high road and being on the right side of the law. So, we have an associate program that allows folks that when you look at, some folks say that we ask for a lot of experience to get one of our credentials, and we did. Our CISSP requires 5 years. Our cloud certification requires 5 years of experience. But we have an associate program that allows people to sit for examination, and we add 1 year to give them the opportunity to get that experiential, so then they're awarded a full certification. So you become an associate of IC squared. What does that mean to an employer? The employer knows if you align yourself with a world-recognized organization that requires continuing education, and once you meet that experiential component, you'll be awarded full certification and be a full certified member of IC squared. So these are ways we look to try to find ways to fill the pipeline. We look at filling the pipeline that when we go into those schools, when we talk about safe and secure online, we have an opportunity to reach the young minds. The young minds of saying, okay, not only do we want you to be safe and secure online, you know what? Cybersecurity can be a really cool career path. And then what we want to try to do is meet that in middle school and high school with curriculum that can create the on-ramp for them that they come out of high school and go into great institutions like the FC Squared at USF. You know, other institutions that we've got them ready, that we've seeded them to come into the profession. And they go on, and hopefully we hope that they come in and become a member of IC Squared or some other respected certification body, you know, that they commit themselves to lifelong learning, being on the right side. We have an ethical code that we hold all of our members to, and we self-police, because we think ethical integrity in the process is absolutely paramount to making sure that people stay on the right side of the law. As you give people this power to probe and look, there's always a tendency, you know, I mean, it's always started with money, right? So the financial sector has always seen us, they've been ahead of the curve, because where there is money, there will be crime. Now we see in healthcare, where people can exploit healthcare information for fraud, for insurance fraud. Now we see that criminals are looking at that and attacking that more and more. And so wherever there's convenience, wherever we think that we have convenience in our lives, we're walking around with our mobile phones. I tell our neighbors, you know, I see the trucks come in and they're all selling wireless camera security systems, and they're all teaching how they can open their garage doors with their smartphone. It's all wireless. And I thought, it's really cool, but do you know who else might be opening the garage door? It's really cool. Where'd you put that camera? Oh, it's right in the living room. Okay, do you do anything personal? I'm not trying to tell you to get in, because I can tell you if it's an IP-based wireless camera, you know, somebody else might be looking at that camera. You know, so these are the things we go, we're consumers. We just need to raise the bar of our understanding of how we enjoy these types of conveniences, and we're safe about it so that people don't exploit it. So I've talked a little bit about how pleased we are to support this type of initiative. Bob's been a fantastic business partner for years, and I think you're going to be a fantastic business partner for years to come. We're committed to this type of thing. We're all kind of awaiting with bated breath to see the outcome here this evening. I know that our folks up in Virginia are waiting. We got Dan, our managing director of North America. He's up there ready to give out some checks, and that's where the money rubber really meets the road. And then we'll see how, you know, but regardless of the outcome, you know, back to the proud parents. I mean, it means a lot too when parents are here supporting this, and I applaud all of you. I know you must be extremely proud regardless of the outcome. Your students are in the game. Your family member is in the game, and I have every reason to believe they're on the right side of this equation. They're on the right side of securing cybersecurity, right? They're not. So let's keep them on the right side. And all those little ones that we're bringing up, let's keep them on the right side. We need more people on the right side of this global challenge, because there are plenty of people out there that are on the wrong side. And so we put great hope in all the students that have participated in this. We already have great hope in the mentors and the teachers that help them through the process. And I applaud your efforts, and please continue to do it and help us continue to inspire a safe and secure cyber world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Excellent. So our next speaker is Steve Foote. He's the technical director of MITRE's Software Engineering and Technical Center, comprised of over 330 software engineers across diverse locations all over it. At MITRE, Steve is applying his extensive knowledge of computer architecture, security. He is a CISSP holder, member of IC Squared. His database management, software development, web service, and enterprise application skills to a variety of departments and agencies across the entire U.S. federal government. Before joining MITRE, Steve was the Vice President of Application Development for NSERS, a technology consulting organization focused on designing secure enterprise architectures for various customers. Over his career, Steve has published approximately 1,000 articles, reports, white papers on topics including application development, systems and network management, advanced database applications, and of course, cybersecurity. Please join me in welcoming Steve.
So if you don't recognize Steve, 27958. Hope you can see access. That's why I go by my house as far as it usually works better if I had it with 2 zeros in the front. I'm 0027958. Hey folks, anybody have venture a guess? When was the first firewall built? Anybody? Anybody in Virginia? Give me a date.
Early 80s.
Go further back. How about 800 BCE? And I understand it's still running. Great Wall of China. To keep the Mongols out. Obviously, the Mongols weren't carrying that package with them, but that was the essence, to keep the bad guys out. And it was built in bits and pieces. You've been on it for long. Anybody ever hear the expression of all roads lead to Rome? It's a little bit more recent. 410. The Germanic tribes in Europe were raiding most of the southern European portions of the Roman Empire. And they discovered that the Romans had some great technologies. They had viaducts to actually pump water. They actually invented paved roads, which really helps out armies. They're moving heavy equipment. And in fact, led to the sacking of Rome. When the northern armies realized they could attack not over the mountains, but along these nice paved roads that the Romans had built for us. So 410, 455, 476, Rome finally fell. The technologies that fairly advanced civilization had built were used against them. And guess where I'm going with that? So let's fast forward. It's 1992. And I started a 12-year stint of doing white hat attacks. Very quiet. You won't find it in my LinkedIn resume. You won't find it in the descriptions and whatnot. The firm that I had co-founded with some business partners did extensive work, especially on Wall Street, insurance companies, you name it. Our customers didn't want anybody to know what we were doing. And it was usually because something bad had already happened. You wouldn't put money in the stock market today if you had the inside knowledge of exactly how many companies and how badly penetrated they were in 1992, 3, 4. It wasn't front page news. By 1999, it started to become fairly popular. Anybody remember the summer of security? Let's not name the vendor because we're taking this. Anybody remember the summer of security and how well that worked out for the world's largest software company? Yeah, they haven't had any patches since the summer of security. They dedicated the entire commercial company's engineering resources to focus for 3 months on nothing but the security of their operating system and applications. And they still have recurring problems, extensive, with all pieces of the software. It's challenging. Fast forward to this particular point in time right now, we're 2015 for those watching in the future on the tape. It's only just recently come to light. Oh my God, Jeep Chrysler, you can hack through the tires, you can hack into the car and take over the command and control system of the car. For those of us in the business, this is not news to us. We don't talk about this, and this is not unique to Jeep either. This transcends the concepts of simply, script keying, hacking through IP channels. Transcends the concept of firewalls. It used to be, it was marauding tribes attacking the nations when it was China, when it was, Rome, the Roman Empire. Even in 1992, the focus wasn't on the individuals, the focus was on corporations, and it's usually for profit, it was rarely just to deface a country. Today, it's a regular circumstance that we have websites defaced to embarrass the owning corporation or government arm. But the real war is with each of us and after our identities. And whether that's to deface our identities or to take over our, entire digital persona, that is the real war. It is no longer about something bigger than us, and we can't ignore it. It is at our doorstep. David pointed out, you want to put a security camera in your living room, you better know what you're doing, because there's other people that will tape it. Surely everybody's seen, nudity as far as, especially actresses that have been taped through their iPads, because somebody broke into it and they just happened to leave it in the bedroom or something like that. There is no shortage of bad actors. There are 7 billion of us. I'm not going to postulate how many bad actors there are, but there's no shortage. And that's with today's technology. So suspend disbelief for just a moment, but tomorrow's technologies will amaze all of you, even the youngest, all of you. One of the material science developments that we're watching closely is the creation of graphene and the use of nanotubes. The size of a computing device is small enough to actually be inserted into your brain and to detect electrochemical transactions which might bring the onset of epilepsy. And the device can actually trigger an attenuation of that signal. It's running an operating system. And of course, because it's embedded with you, it's wirelessly accessible. So what do you think that means? There's a real opportunity to hack into that. It's a running joke. People are going to hack into Dick Cheney's pacemaker. Guess what? It's not a joke. It can happen. Tomorrow's technology is going to astonish all of us. And it won't be hacking into the tires of our cars. It's going to be every form of technology that we have in our control. If you track the graduation numbers from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the number of STEM graduates in its entirety is measured in the 20,000 range. It is not big. And not all of them will go into the cybersecurity, cyber warrior, path of life. The more we can do to stimulate interest, to stimulate awareness, and to stimulate innovation with the high school students, with the college students, and actually, David, if your dad's not working, I got a job for him.
Send
The
him
more
over.
we can do to stimulate the interest, especially self-interest, because I'm not going to leave that one alone. This is about each of us, not about somebody else. This is our problem. Once you've had your identity stolen, you know that all too well. The more we can do to stimulate the ranks of the good guys, the better off we will all be in the future. Without that, these problems don't go away. We have what's known as a target-rich environment in 2015. And 2016, the targets proliferate. They don't shrink. They're not going away. When one of the world's largest companies dedicates several 100,000 engineers to securing their technology and still fails to do it, that should tell you something. The technology is moving faster than we're able to secure it. It's not getting easier, it's getting harder. And we need as many, hands on the keyboard, if you will, but minds in the game that we can get. That is why the effort that you see in Capture the Flag is so important to us. It's important to MITRE because we support the federal government in all of its branches. And we understand the challenges that they're under from nation-state actors and from script kids. But it goes beyond that. It comes back to our own personal households. This matters to all of us. Without someone defending the Great Wall, we're going to have nothing but marauders coming through and stealing our identities, stealing our futures, stealing our children's identities, because that's the latest. children's social security numbers can be stolen from them the day they are born. What chance does a child have when they start life out like that? We need to focus as much energy as we can on this type of capture the flag event wherever possible. So, from that point, but, we'll take questions at the end. I actually wanted to make sure we planned time, but I do want to leave you with that thought. 500 BCE, it was real bad guys raiding a nation state. In 2015, it's about us, individuals. Thanks very much.
So our next speaker is Sri Sriharan, who's the Managing Director and Chief Operating Officer of the Florida Cyber Center for Cybersecurity at SC2, which is located at the University of Central Florida, or South Florida. My daughter goes to UCF, so. Sri currently manages and directs the entire cybersecurity initiative at the center, developing projects and establishing relationships between industry experts, both national and local, and educational leaders and researchers statewide. His leadership focuses on academics, education and training, research, and applied research, as well as robust outreach programs to create awareness of cybersecurity across the state. Prior to joining the center, Sri led both established and startup companies, holding top management positions in all of those. Sri has 3 master's degrees in computer science, mathematics, and applied mathematics. Please join us in welcoming Sri Sriharan.
Thanks for having me here. It's wonderful. But before I get started with talking about FC Squared, I just want to address David Scherer's problem with the flat top that he's talking about. David, my advice would be, you've got a little bit of remnants left, to shave it all off, you look cool.
All right.
That'll solve all the expense problems. In fact, I was walking across campus the other day, this was actually a couple of months back, and a nice looking guy walked past me and he said, "Hey, you're the guy who's on cyber, I see you all the time." Yeah, I said, "Thank you." Then this young lady went past me, "Hey, you are the cyber dude." So I wasn't sure what that meant, so I quickly went to my office and asked my folks, "Is cyber dude a good thing or a bad thing?" They say it's a great thing. You recognize you. So just want to share that with you. Thanks for having me here. FC Squared, Florida Center for Cybersecurity, was established in statute on July 1 of 2014. And our mission was very simple. We need to create a workforce to meet the demands in the marketplace. I think David shared with the numbers, etc. And we also need to do a lot of research in areas where there's a lot of vulnerabilities. And we're still creating applications at a very fast pace to put it on those little gadgets that we carry in our hands. And I see the students walking like this all the time. They don't even look at the road. This is what they swear by. And there's so many applications, and that causes a lot of problems too, in terms of cyber hacking, etc. And then the outreach program that we just mentioned, Steve, that's extremely important. And those are the 3 things that we are really focused on. So let me now go back and talk to you a little bit about how we are addressing those. About 4 or 5 months back, I had Robert Herjavec, who's the guy on Shark Tank. I'm sure you guys have seen him. He owns a cybersecurity company, and he came and made a presentation as a keynote speaker at one of our events. And he said, in the next 10 to 15 years, there will be no such thing as an unemployed security analyst. Just such a thing will not exist. So there's guaranteed jobs. So I look at all the parents who are encouraging their kids to get involved in cybersecurity. It's a wonderful thing. Because there's job security there. And then I think David mentioned about the high salaries that these jobs command as well. And that's a wonderful thing as well. So it is the right profession to be in, and I encourage as many students as they show interest thing that was mentioned too earlier on. I don't want to repeat all the things that was mentioned. But when we put together the master's program in cybersecurity, it's only one of its kind in the state of Florida. And we're going to replicate it in other colleges like UCF, UF, FSU. I'm talking to all of them almost on a monthly basis. We put together a truly interdisciplinary program that covered arts and science, that covered behavioral science. It's not just about IT. It did cover computer science and engineering. It covered College of Business. It covered education, all the different areas. Because that's where the demand is in the marketplace. I was talking to an FBI agent the other day. He said, we need a lot of people in cyber intelligence. That's not just pure IT. So it's truly interdisciplinary. So there are lots of different areas that we need to talk about. And that's the kind of program that we put together. And the interesting thing that we did, I came from the private industry to academia. Right? So in academia, the professors, they know everything. You don't know anything. Like, they own the world. So we put the curriculum together, and then I told them, much to their displeasure, that I'm going to go socialize this curriculum with the industry. So I went to the industry, and I talked to 18 different companies. Myself, I personally went and I talked to CENTCOM, I talked to IBM, I talked to Booz Allen, I talked to all the different companies, small, medium, large, and I said, if somebody graduated with this curriculum, will you hire? That was my litmus test. And they gave me some fantastic feedback. And all that was incorporated into the curriculum. So that's the way that I think the whole cybersecurity industry is evolving. And I think someone mentioned that technology is evolving so fast that the hackers are one step ahead of us. And we're always in a reactive mode, not in a proactive mode. And that's got to change. And I tell the professors this, that hey, just because we taught the course with this syllabus this semester doesn't mean it's not going to change. Be prepared to change it next semester. And we're starting to see that happen as we speak. So the whole area of education is extremely important. Academia needs to work with industry very closely, and that's something that we are encouraging at Florida Center for Cybersecurity across the state of Florida, and we are taking the message to the nation as well. So that is important to us. So create more skill sets in the marketplace to go after the jobs that are open, that are unfilled. In fact, I made a presentation to 123 CIOs and CISOs in Altamonte Springs, in your neck of the woods. And at the end of the presentation, almost every one of them came and said the following: we have a lot of data to protect. Citizens' data, social security numbers that you mentioned, taxpayer information. We've got all of this data. We have an old infrastructure. Our budgets are being slashed. We cannot find people to protect this infrastructure. And even if you find them, they want a lot of money. What do? This is a real challenge in the marketplace, right? So we have to address this problem by creating a lot of skill sets and professionals who are trained in cybersecurity and various aspects of it, interdisciplinary, as I said before. Research and applied research is something that we focus on as well. With this Internet of Things, that's the latest buzzword. There's so many things that are going on, and people are very careless in terms of how they use these devices. Free Wi-Fi attracts students to use free Wi-Fi and not have to pay for services, and they can hack. We even demonstrated using this gadget called a pineapple in terms of how dangerous that is, and how easy it is to hack these things. We are getting lazier and lazier, taking pictures of checks and depositing in the bank. We can't even go to the bank, that's how lazy we've gotten, right? And the banks love it because they don't have to have tellers at those desks. And then we get hacked. And our bank information is stolen from these devices. So we need to work on a lot of research and grants from the three interagencies in DC, which is something that FC Squared encourages the 12 universities across the state university system in Florida to go after. And that seems to resonate with the folks in DC as well. So we are encouraging a lot of those types of things. We are located ideally, because CENTCOM and SOCOM is right here. Lots of businesses, insurance companies, financial services institutions, all the things that we would be looking for are here. And that's one of the reasons why this was set up on the campus of USF. Last but not the least, the awareness program. That's something that we take very seriously. And anyone who asks me to come and speak, I try to accommodate them as much as I can, because we need to spread the word. If you're not aware of how serious the problem is, if you're not aware of all the silly things that you do to get hacked, then shame on us for not spreading the word. So we take that seriously in terms of the awareness program. And I'll put in a shameless plug here. On October 13th and 14th, we have our annual cybersecurity conference, and where we have Keith Alexander, who was the cyber chief for the nation for 4 years. He's going to be the keynote speaker. And then we have other panelists and other speakers also through the entire 2 days. I encourage you to sign up and come and attend. It's a wealth of information that you can get. It's not just about FC Squared, it's more about cybersecurity, which is the awareness that we're trying to create. So that's what we do at FC Squared. We are very busy doing a lot of things, and I know that you've got time for Q&A, etc. So I'll be happy to answer questions when we're ready. Thank you very much.
So at this point, we'd like to bring David, Steve, and Sri back to the front and open the floor up for questions from anyone, online or in McLean or here. Questions?
Well, I have a question. I work in military training, and cyber training is becoming more and more a topic of interest. And one of the challenges that the military is going to face is if they train up their soldiers and an industry is going to pay them the big bucks, as you said, how are they going to keep them in? Have any of you, maybe your organization in particular, thought about encouraging some kind of military or civil service professionals as to your country as part of your career advancement?
Well, I spent some time in the service, and, you know, most of the time those MOSs, you know, the military occupations, you have those highly sought after ones where they can do some re-up bonuses or things to incentivize them to stay. Because some people that are really committed to the service, they're going to stay. They'll even pass up money to stay and work. But I think the military, this isn't a new thing for them. Whether it's aviation, many of the military occupations are highly sought after because they dump a lot of training into those folks. So I do think they have tools available to them with recruiters and through recruitment to try to retain them. But there's always going to be a potential to jump. If you're in Canada, I spoke with the banking industry in Canada. There are 5 major banks in Canada, the most stable banking system in the entire world. And those InfoSec and cyber folks are bouncing from one bank to the next. If they don't get their donuts and coffee on time in the morning, they're jumping to the next one. So they're almost like the air traffic controllers in a European country. They're all named, so I don't get in trouble. But you know, they go on strike every month because you know, there's something else wrong. They can jump around, so I think they're very mobile. I think the military has some tools available to them. Look at that. We get some of our best candidates coming out of the military. I mean, there are also folks who are just tired of those deployments and they're coming out and looking to go to private industry. And that's just another national challenge we have. We're really grinding our men and women in the deployments we've had and fighting the number of wars that we've taken on in the over the last decade. So I'm sure the other gentlemen here may have some other comments.
Yeah, I think that is a real problem that they come and discuss that with us, saying how it's so far, because people jump very easily. In fact, we've done with a lot of people in DHS, they're all gone. Where they go, they're in the private industry. So that's a thing that's going to happen, but I think government is also getting smart about that, in terms of ways to retain them, ways to incent them, as David talked about. I think they're putting those programs together. But private industry always pays more than government, so that's a fact that we cannot, there's nothing you can do about that.
One of the things that you may find encouraging with IOPR separation of engineers is actually retraining, especially wounded warriors, to take on cyber jobs. I'm not suggesting that it's workable for handicapped individuals, but that's a big motivation, is that it's challenging for them to get around physically. Then cyber warrior is not physically taxing, right? People for most of the day. So the VA actually has some initiative to do that. It doesn't prevent them from separating, but it does focus on, okay, now that you're a veteran, you're going to look for war,
once it works and you work out all the kinks, you want to replicate it in the state and all the other institutions.
So that's not necessarily retained within the military, to your point, but we do something similar to that they can use GI Bill funding for both our seminars, our training, and certification, so that they can come out, because a lot of them come out with a nice chunk of money in their GI Bill funding. Now, if they can go in a 2-year, 4-year program in concert with that, that's great, but they can fairly easily, some of them come out with some deep skills that, having the right credential can actually springboard them into doing the transition from military to private sector. But to your point, I think the military and government they always have had challenges with succession planning. When the economy starts to rebound, people start to head back out of government positions in the private industry. Then the economy starts to slow, people kind of hunker down into what they see as maybe more highly coveted, protected types of positions that we tend to see in government and military.
Since we're seeing more and more acts of breaches coming from foreign entities, and there's really not much you can do about that without government involvement, do you see future growth in blue team related skills where you look at cybersecurity from a defensive role, or more of a red team where we're more looking for people who have the ability to actually perform attacks? So do you see the future growth in offense or defense?
Well, just offer my opinion, because we had some references to, the Great Wall. We have historically in security taken that old moat and high walls, drawbridges, to use an analogy, right? And so we're protecting the perimeter. But those days are gone. It doesn't mean that we stop looking at firewalls. It doesn't mean that we stop protecting the perimeter. But you have to assume that you've been compromised. You have to assume that people are burrowing in, or they're in your infrastructure. And so the security starts to change, just not from the perimeter, but to the data itself. Starting to protect data where it's at. Evaluating the protection of that data. Is it IP? Is it high value information asset? If so, you want to have the security mitigation commensurate to the value of that information asset. You just can't think that just because you have strong perimeter, these mobile devices come in behind your firewalls. You can spend millions of dollars on SIM and logging and outsource the security operations center and great firewalls. And somebody comes in and connects the device to your network, and they're in behind that firewall, and now they're in. So you have to protect both. You have to assume they're in. You have to have a very kind of offensive nature with that. Then you can use honeypots and honeypits to kind of be more offensive and try to draw them in and take them away from your assets. There are lots of techniques in order to do that. But I think offense with defense, we're going to continue to play with that to find the right balance. I don't think anyone has the right percentage of how you would actually lay that out. But assume they're in your network. Assume they're on your PC at home, because it probably very likely are.
Yeah, I might be wrong, and I would love to be wrong, okay? But I think that the people that are in the real need to listen to people like you is the academic world. Especially because of 3 reasons. You are integrating in 3 levels. You are integrating among disciplines. You are integrating industry with academy, which is nothing easy to do. And you are integrating between the middle and high school and higher education, which is almost impossible to do. Again, it's a guess. I think that academy is allergic to what you are saying, but they are needing to. And not just here in the States, especially developing country, from where I am from, because they are, in my opinion, Latin American academy, for example, are a bad copy of the American academy. And your talk is a globally oriented. And in that sense, I am extremely Cartesian. Maybe this is the only thing that I am a Cartesian, okay? When he said that the intelligence is the best distributed asset in the world. So intelligence and talents are everywhere. And maybe that would help a lot in your pipeline. But to get into all these places, one thing to address is the academy. And they are allergic to this kind of thing that you are saying. It's like, you know, the metaphor that I have is like needing a penicillin but being allergic to the penicillin. But you need it. So somehow you have to deal with all this stuff. Have you thought about it?
You know, I think, you know, how you break the ice in trying to bring people to the discussion often is through what happens in the free market. What we're seeing, and we heard that with the Jeep reference, you know, we're seeing embedded systems that those of us that worked in the DoD for the last 20, 30 years, we've been dealing with embedded systems, defense systems where we have software, we have firmware, we have hardware. Now we're seeing those same types of things in the products and services that we have in our cars or transportation systems. Okay, so the convergence, we want to say that it's operational technology with IT, they're convergent. Yeah, it is. Privacy is convergent. Yes, it is. You know, mechanical, chemical, electrical engineering, all these disciplines are convergent. So we have the 5-star crash test that people say, when I buy a vehicle, I want to know that it passes some rigor of testing. How do we have something where we start to say that industry and these engineering disciplines need to come together, because people aren't going to buy products that haven't been streaming integration testing to know that air-gapped, you know, land that's in that car has the entertainment system here that's air-gapped from the operational system here that might press the brake or the accelerator or turn the steering wheel. So I think we can drive it through what do consumers require in the products that they buy, because people vote with their money. And then organizations and institutes vote with their feet in their wallet and what consumers want. But right now we have a consumer base that we're willing to buy products that have no semblance of showing us that there's any type of security built into them. And we do that with software. We've long been advocates for secure software, but now it's gone beyond secure software. Embedded systems, or what we want to call the Internet of Things, just a new name, just like cloud, you know, these things have been around. Cybersecurity, we call it cybersecurity. Now information assurance is what most of us in the DoD were trained for years. Now it's cyber, that's the catch-all for it. But the principles that we've been espousing for 25 years, ISIS, were remain the same at the infrastructure and software layer. Now we're embedding in all these chemical, mechanical, electrical engineering disciplines. We need more people coming to the table in the discussion, both academically and in industry, and maybe we can make some, you can raise a good point.
You know, in Spanish, there is difference between knowing and saber and conocer, which is a difference between knowing and wisdom, but not in the sense of wise people, okay? This difference makes you that you apply in the real world and in your teaching classes what you know. So I'm sure that a lot of academic people know what you are saying, but they don't apply it.
Can I add?
They don't do it.
Can I add to it? I think I can address with what you're saying. I teach and I've taught in different universities, and I've been teaching cybersecurity for over 10 years. And when I first started, it was like, no, you can't teach the students that because then they're going to hack into our whatever, right? And there was a lot of backlash against hands-on kind of. So what I think it is, I think it's like you said, especially third world countries, universities or whatever, it's the maturation, it's where that university is at. In those 10 years, things have changed greatly, but they haven't changed in all the universities. They've changed, and even in the universities in the States. They haven't all changed, but several of them have. And I can see maybe from where you're from, maybe they just haven't gotten to that point yet. It's been a whole paradigm has just changed.
Let me give you an example here in the state, Atlantic University.
Yeah.
The grant they got is to make interdisciplinary study. And they ended up making disciplinary studies. and they have the grant to work for interdisciplinary program, and all their program is disciplinary program.
It depends
So
on,
it's something that's happening everywhere.
yeah.
I think they're learning with that experiential learning, and what you're saying through ISC squared and other, it's called experiential learning. You can teach me all in a book, it doesn't matter. But if I can go in and do surgery, some surgeons don't get all A's. Some surgeon gets B's, and they're actually a better surgeon than the one that's a book smart surgeon. So what you're talking about, I'm Steve, I'm Dr. Young from MITRE. So I actually do education, and I do education at University of Maryland. We have laboratories to do experiential learning.
Okay.
So we force you to perform. You'll be assessed. So that's what you're looking for.
You force students,
Assessment.
but have you forced professors?
I'm a professor and we eat our own. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I do think it's even beyond the experiential. You're talking about that, I'm sure those people teaching engineering, mechanical engineering, are trying to do a fantastic job teaching. Electrical engineering, fantastic, chemical. But sometimes when those disciplines come together to create products and services and solutions, they're not thinking of that, the end game of the security that should be applied to that, that's built in at the requirement stage, so that when we deliver those products, it's been baked in, not bolted on.
Well, it's kind of a cultural thing too. He's talking about the academic culture, and in some institutions, it's still back the way it used to be, but we think we've grown, but hasn't grown everywhere.
And I think cybersecurity.
This is why I started saying that I would love to be wrong.
It's a cultural, well, I think partly you are. I think partly you are, like,
Yeah.
he's at the top of the food chain, you could call it, right? But then it kind of dribbles down from,
So at this point, let me pause and let's give an opportunity to see if McLean has any questions. So Pat, does anyone there have any questions for our guest speakers?
Yeah, we have a couple questions here.
Thanks. Well, I think you touched on it in some ways, but I was considering the pace of increasing vulnerability, cyber vulnerability, and what does that do to the value of more formal learning, formal certification versus, as one of the was mentioned, experiential learning, the hackathons, the CTFs and things like that, as vehicles that can be changed more rapidly and respond to increasing challenges more dynamically.
I have a non-ISC response, but it's I used analogies earlier, I'll do it again here. 1600, 1700, here in the United States, anybody with a hacksaw and a bullet could be a doctor. And that's not a joke, it's truth. We had a burgeoning medical practice which exploded in the 17 and 1800s, and now the 1900s of pharmaceuticals. What contained the explosion was the American Medical Association, the innovation of that, the establishment of credentials, the experiential learning, the demonstration of the ability to properly apply some of the technologies. Obviously, a doctor can do, nefarious things as well as healing things. It's the same situation in cybersecurity. So I am, being a CISSP, I'm a strong advocate of maintaining and growing the spectrum of certification that we've got in the cybersecurity field, so that not just anybody shows up with a keyboard and pretend to be a good guy, because I've met some of those fake good guys. I'm literally sitting in the room with the fake good guys, and the dawn and the comprehension just occurs to me like, wait a minute, I know who did this, and he's sitting right next to me. I don't mean to patronize ISC squared, but I think that it's important to continue to proliferate the concept of certification in the cybersecurity domain, especially as it takes new forms like embedded systems and whatnot. And in order to support that, you're going to need an educational curriculum, because you don't sit down and take the CISSP test. Trust me, you don't do that. When I took it, 38% passed. So, and I don't think it's much easier today. It requires a lot of experience, it requires a lot of education. And you don't want to just, pull anything off the internet. You want to do something that's credible.
In fact, as part of the master's program that we put together, there are 4 certificates that you can get. You can information assurance, or cyber intelligence, or digital forensics, or cyber operations. So that's, we believe in the same thing too, that there are people who know certain aspects of cybersecurity, but they want to become experts or gain specialization in certain other areas. And you don't have to sit down and go through a whole master's program. You can get a certificate. We encourage people to go to ISC Square to get their certifications too. So that's, I think that is one of the things that's evolving in the marketplace as well.
You know, I think you published a good article in your professional journal, and you said, you know, because we talk about that there's not enough people, but, you know, I know plenty of students, I know a lot of people that are trying to get a job. I think that where you said you're looking for the perfect fit, you know, I think you had an article on that, and I think that's true. I mean, I think that's part of the equation too. It's not that there aren't people out there. I think a lot of times too, you're looking for in security the perfect fit person that, you know, has worked on an intrusion detection system and can do the person that, and I think that's maybe just all of America in IT today. We're looking for that you know, like we're used to bringing people and train them, and now we're looking for people that will fit that. I think that's part of the equation. I think that's part of the problem.
Well, this has been excellent dialogue. I know there's probably many more questions, but this is a school night for our students, so we'll be mindful of that. I want to get to the award ceremony. So with that, I would like to thank all of our guest speakers for So now, let's move into why we're here, which is the recap of our recent Capture the Flag competition, and more importantly, move into recognizing the achievements of the students. So, just in a nutshell, for those who aren't familiar, the Capture the Flag is really about being an opportunity. The event itself brings students together to compete against each other, try to solve puzzles in cybersecurity and challenges, to gain flags, which ultimately gain points and experience. In this past year, this competition, which was our fifth one, we had over 73 teams actually complete the competition, which arranged basically over 300 students. And they competed in two separate divisions, high school and college, which you'll see more in a video that we're going to play next to recap the entire event. But more importantly, this was an experience in our partnership with ISC Square to offer these students an opportunity to gain experience, to earn scholarships, and potential jobs and internships with not only MITRE, but many other companies and also with our government sponsors. And the only cost that we asked was a submission of a resume. And so I think this is a really good public resource. It's important. I think events like this are exactly what we need to continue to be doing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over and we're going to play a short video.
Our increasingly connected world makes us more productive and powerful than ever before. But with that capability comes danger and a responsibility to protect our nation, assets, and people from that danger. As cyber criminals keep pace with the development of technology, it is imperative that we stay 2 steps ahead. To make matters worse, the demand for a cyber-skilled workforce is high, much higher than the current supply and talent pool. We are all facing serious workforce challenges, but in the area of cyber, this drought in talent could have very high implications. With this in mind, the MITRE and ISC Squared Cyber Challenge was created. Powered by the MITRE Academy, the challenge represents an example of STEM-related free public resources MITRE and ISC Squared are providing to educators and students to learn, practice, and compete with their cyber skills. For the 5th year in a row, in conjunction with ISC Squared, MITRE hosted the Capture the Flag, or CTF. The CTF aims to encourage uniquely talented people, promote interest in cybersecurity, and draw them to potential cyber internships with MITRE, the government, or commercial industry. The CTF has separate divisions for high school and college, so teams of different skill levels and ages can compete fairly. The scoring framework used a Jeopardy-style system with multiple cybersecurity categories containing challenges of varying complexity. The more difficult the challenge, the more points it was worth. Teams capture a flag by identifying vulnerabilities in MITRE-devised cyber systems and exploiting them to gain access to pieces of information such as credentials. These pieces of information are flags. These flags included team-based puzzles to be solved, attack-defend-style interactions, as well as more advanced and realistic business sector simulations. Our traditional categories are modeled off of ubiquitous technologies that support our everyday lives. The categories include binary exploitation, cryptography, digital forensics, and networking. This year, we added 3 new categories pulled from real-world cyber dangers. The Cyberville challenges place the competitors in an IP-enabled model city where they must use their cybersecurity skills to gain access to parts of the city's infrastructure. Competitors participating in the attack and defend challenges enter a sandboxed environment where rich networking and operating system-based vulnerabilities are the main attack vector. The mobile challenges test a competitor's skills of mobile application security through the process of building defenses into vulnerable apps in order to protect against attackers. The CTF was run in a virtual private cloud infrastructure that contains servers to host services for the scoreboard, Open VPN access control, event and network monitoring, event registration, and challenges. A white cell or administrator team developed the challenges, monitored and managed the infrastructure, moderated the teams, and rewarded points as participants attempt to solve challenges. This year, the white cell was composed of MITRE technical staff and interns from Tampa, Bedford, and Colorado. Some of the white cell have supported CTF for all 5 years of its history, while others were new this year. The white cell worked with the teams throughout the competition to ensure the game was secure, played fairly, and that the teams were having fun and learning throughout the process. This year, we requested teams to complete before and after surveys to gather feedback that we could use to improve on future competitions. If the IRC channel is any indication, it seems that the teams had a positive experience. In addition, this year the teams themselves created their own challenge, a meme challenge on a Reddit subreddit to creatively capture their experience. Here are some highlights. This year, we once again had separate high school and college divisions for the competition with over 300 students participating. Within our high school division, we had 31 registered teams with a total of 15 completing the competition. There were 32 total challenges in the high school division. 644 flags were submitted and 105 challenges were solved. Our 5th place team was Team Episcopal, affiliated with the Episcopal Academy with a score of 1,600 points. 4th place was Team Super Tuxcart, affiliated with high school students from Portland with 1,650 points. 3rd place was Team Combustible Lemons, affiliated with Thomas Jefferson High School with 2,150 points. In 2nd place was Team Aquars, affiliated with Thomas Jefferson High School with 2,450 points. And finally, with 3,050 points, 1st place was Team Flying Penguins, Thomas Jefferson High School. Within our college division, we had a total of 96 registered teams, with 58 completing the competition. There were 32 total challenges in the college division. Over 11,400 flags were submitted, and 413 challenges were solved. Our fifth place team was 1064 Seabrand, affiliated with several Southern California schools with a score of 3,000 points. Fourth place was the Kettering Open Source Club, affiliated with Kettering University with 3,100 points. Third place was Team KUO SC1, affiliated with a mix of students from several universities, also with 3,100 points. In second place was Batman's Kitchen, affiliated with the University of Washington with 3,600 points. And finally, with 4,300 points, first place was Team TJCSL, with students affiliated with RIT, University of Maryland, and high school students from Thomas Jefferson High School. This year, once again with our partnership with the ISC Squared Foundation, we are able to offer exciting awards to the winning teams, including $1,000 scholarships, SSCP professional certification exam vouchers, and priority consideration in MITRE's cyber internship program. Congratulations to the winners and all of the competitors for taking on this challenge. We hope to see you all next year for a new and improved Capture the Flag.
So that video is entirely put together, members of our White Cell team, Paige Mullen.
Hey Bob, I think you're muted.
Got it?
Yeah, you're good.
Hey, so anyway, I was just acknowledging that the video was put together by members of our White Cell team, and I thought they did a really good job of collecting the data and kind of in very short order pulling it together. So at this point, can you flip back to sharing the slides?
Those are the slides.
Oh, you got it. There we go. Okay, great. So at this point, I want to turn over to you, Pat, in the frame, and we'll switch gears to the awards recognition.
Excellent. So I guess no surprise again, TJ Clean House. It seems like some of these teams have been here, 3 and 4 years to come in and just killing it. So that's awesome, guys. Really, really cool. So what we want to do right now is give the award ceremony, kind of the best part of the whole night, at least I think. What we want to do tonight is give the winners an opportunity to talk a little bit about their experience with CTF, give the audience an opportunity to ask them questions, and kind of pick their brains on how they did it, how much Red Bull they drank, how they actually made it through the night. So to present some of the awards, I do want to introduce Dan Waddell and Steve Batiste to come up to give just a quick brief overview of their role in all of this, and then what they'll do is introduce the students and present them up. So, Dan.
Thanks, Pat. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. It's also nice to have our team here from our Alexandria office. I mean, you see the picture last year with the big checks. That was me juggling checks, juggling vouchers, juggling cameras. I needed like 10,000 arms last year. So it's an honor to have my team here to experience this and to be with you. I'm a parent. I've got 3 kids. One of them is going to be 16 next year. She's going to be driving to my horror and my nervousness. But I tell you that because as parents, right, kudos to you. I know we've said thank you to the parents a lot tonight, but I wanted to say that again because it's important. It's important what we're doing here tonight as an information security, cybersecurity community. And just to give you a little example of how important it is, yesterday I was on Capitol Hill talking with some congressmen and some people from some pretty important companies about the GPAC, about some of the ethical research type of work that was being done. They did it the right way. There was a team of researchers a couple of years ago that were digging through junkyards, looking for parts, assembling things in their garage, buying things on the internet, and piecing this thing together in a very ethical way for the public safety. And so my 16-year-old daughter, is getting ready to drive, and as a result of their work, 1.4 million cars were recalled and are being patched as we speak. So it's a testament to the community. It's a testament to the work that you're doing. Honestly, last year, we probably would not be having the conversation at the levels that we're having it at the White House and at Congress. So kudos, keep up the great work. Parents, thank you, and keep up the great work. Great to see the folks down in Tampa. David, and good to see you. I don't get to see you very often because you're in that tube, 38,000 feet above the earth there. Also, Patrick Craven is our new co-director of the foundation. Also great to hear Rocky Young, Dr. Young's voice there too from MITRE. So on behalf of the IC2 Foundation, I congratulate all the competitors from this year's National Capture the Flag Cyber Competition. It's definitely great to see all the promise and the skill here today. I'm here to present each member of the winning team with a $1,000 college scholarship and a voucher to take the IC2 Systems Security Certified Practitioner, the SSCP certification exam. So I'm going to announce the winners, and then you guys are going to come up. We'll definitely hear from you, and then we'll actually do the official big check picture at the end. So again, the college team winners from TJ CSL, Robert O'Connell, James Forcier, Samuel Domashek, am I pronouncing that correctly? Peter Foley, and Fox Wilson. Congratulations, team. Well done. Have a round of applause. And again, the high school team, Flying Penguins, represented again by TJ, Thomas Jefferson High School here in Virginia, Eric Wang, and Samuel Kim. Congratulations. Good job. Steve, you want to say a few words?
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the participants and the support people for the participants. So I'd like the participants to make sure they acknowledge the people in their lives that made it possible. Not just your parents, relatives, mentors, people that fix your cars, people that prepare your food. You're in a lucky situation where those people are taking care of you so that you can make a difference. And really, the reason why we're here can be summed up in one word, and that word is power. A long time ago in computer science, the magic was to make it work. Now the magic is to make it work right. It's easy to get things to work now. Stuff just works. It's hard to make sure it's built correctly and work right. And at MITRE, we have that long-term for the public good interest, systems engineering focus on making sure that you do things right. And as part of that, doing things right is helping grow that workforce, whether they work for MITRE eventually, government sponsors, or critical infrastructure. It's very important that we promote this field so that the people in this field could help make sure things are done right. So whether you're a winner or not, please submit, I know you submitted your resumes and I'll make sure I get them. But please consider MITRE as one of the places you would come and work. It's very important. Once again, we're looking to do things right, and we're looking to help people grow in ways to do things right. Don't forget, it's not doing something, it's making sure that you're doing it right. Not only for you, not only for your parents, but for the people that fix your car and make your lunch and made it possible for you to be here. Thanks.
Okay, so we'd like to hear from the students for a little bit. Do we want to start with the college or high school level first? Okay, I guess I'll pick. Let's have Samuel, if you want to come up and give a few words first. Thanks.
Well, first of all, I wanted to definitely thank all of the organizers at MITRE and the White Cell team for putting together such a great competition. I think our entire team can agree that this is probably the best one yet. We love the new challenges, the attack defense, the Cyberville. So again, thank you very much. We had a lot of fun. For the competition, we were actually in 3 separate locations. 2 of our team members were at RIT for the competition, 2 were at Peter's house, and then I was at home because I was sick. So it was a lot of fun figuring that out. We actually had a Google Hangout that we were collaborating over through the entire competition. Really, our goal was to not have 2 people working on the same challenge and not talking to each other. We wanted to make sure that we are collaborating on problems and not repeating the same work over again. So to that end, we talked on Google Hangouts, we collaborated over IRC, and also for attack defense, we actually had just an EC2 virtual machine where we collaborated and ran problems and connected 2 together. So I think that's it. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. One of the best CTFs I think that we've done.
Okay, Eric, you want to come up and give a couple words?
Well, I guess I'd like to thank Mitchie for allowing us to participate in this awesome competition. We had a lot of fun. We really enjoyed the new challenges, like the attack defense and the mobile challenges. I guess for us, we just collaborated over Google spreadsheets. We shared information with each other, and I guess we stayed up a bit, did a lot of problems, and that was basically it. Well, I guess I'd just like to thank Mitchie again for hosting this wonderful competition, and that's it.
Okay, we'd like to open it up for some questions and answers. Let's start here in McLean first. Do we have any questions for the winners of the competition? What about down in Tampa? Any questions for the winners?
Any questions in Tampa? For students? Yes, please.
For the high school teams, what are you going to do next?
All right, well, I think that what we're going to do next is just keep doing competitions. There's there's an increased amount of CTFs every year, and we always enjoy competing. I know that Fox and I are doing a competition just this upcoming weekend, for Seesaw High School Forensics that's sponsored by NYU.
Pat, are you still there?
Well, I guess same here. CTFs all day, every day. I mean, that's it.
Where are you looking to go to college?
I guess I might get to see you.
No, we couldn't hear Pat.
CNU? EMU, sorry. Any other questions in Tampa?
Yeah, I have a question. So how did you train for this? Do you have special classes in your high school, computing classes, or do you have a mentor that's trained you, led you through this, or how did you prepare for this?
Well, we all went to Thomas Jefferson, so we have 8th period activities, which are kind of like clubs during the school day. A lot of us are involved where we get to paint and run and actually defend real-world systems that our high school relies on. So we learned a lot during that, and we just do these competitions for fun, and yeah.
So you're basically self-driven then, it sounds like. This is all on your own. You don't really have anybody that's mentoring you or training you, or this is kind of just from within, something that you.
So actually, we have one of the mentors here, if you want to maybe talk a little bit about the mentorship.
Could the speakers come to the podium
so
so we
my-
can see them?
Yeah, Pat, could you come to the podium, because it'll be easier. Thank you.
So my name is Andrew Hamilton. I run the Student Network Administrator program at TJ. I'm a graduate of the school. I was a part of the program when I was there. And basically, the vast majority of our high school's network is run by the students. We have a research computing lab, our student intranet, which is a big part of our everyday life, email, web services, file services, all of that is run by the students. And so, you know, like any other services that are accessible on the internet, they get attacked every day, and myself and the students were responsible for defending them, investigating breaches when they occur, and generally providing security. We also occasionally have students who try to attack our network from the inside, and a lot of what helps deter them, particularly because we have so many very technically savvy students, is the knowledge that it's not just the adults who are going to be hunting them down and finding them. Their fellow students are going to help find them and make sure that they answer for whatever destructive behaviors they were committing.
Very good.
So it's very real world experience.
It's amazing. Thank you.
We actually have one more question.
So for running the network, we have 4 full-time IT staffers, including myself, and then we have a team of between 10 and 15 students working various hours, 2 to 4 a.m. To keep the network secure. We serve 1,800 students.
So one last question. Next is question.
Yeah, my question is for Bob and Steve. Since we have limited resources to cover for the need, can we start doing like the MBA and hiring them without having them to go to college? I guess they got the job.
So in,
As soon as they're 18.
in some cases, the answer is yes. MITRE has 7 FFRDCs, each has a different contractual relationship with the one or more sponsors. And some of those FFRDCs require a bachelor's in order for them to be, the individuals to be working on the contract, but not all of them do require a bachelor's. So it isn't black and white, there is a middle road. So yes, in some cases we can do that.
And this is Stephen McLean. I want to emphasize that last year MITRE had a total of 250 interns. Probably about 100 of them were working on cybersecurity related work. So we're very interested in building that pipeline of folks that can come in that are junior staff to help our diversity in understanding technology and understanding responsive. As we have many senior people here, we want a full life cycle of people. So the answer is yes, we can hire them. We usually hire them as interns. We usually help them out through their undergraduate degrees. And when they get here, many of them go on for master's degrees. So the answer is yes. But once again, this is a field that's very similar to doctoring, where you've got to put some time in to do it correctly. Not just building things, it's building things right.
Okay, any other questions in Tampa or McLean? Okay, I think now is the time we've been waiting for. I'd like to turn it back over to Dan and his crew to present the big checks.
Awesome, thanks again, Pat. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to ask Steve and Stephanie to come on up. The way we're going to do the first round is we've got our SSCP vouchers and some challenge coins to hand out. So if you two would make your way over this way. There you go, perfect, right there. And then as I call your names, please come up and accept your voucher and challenge coin. So we'll go ahead and start with Robert O'Connell. Not here? Okay, very good. So we'll skip to Samuel. Samuel, come on up. So go ahead and stay up here, Sam. Peter Foley's next. Peter, why don't you come on up? Round of applause for Peter. And finally, Fox Wilson. Come on up, Fox. Congratulations. All right, so John, if you would come over here and let's present the big check. Afterwards, we'll cut out the wall and get the medicine. Hang on to the big check. You guys are ready. Thank you. Round of applause. Good job. Okay, so Flying Penguins, you're next. Eric, come on up. Congratulations, Eric. And Samuel Kim, come on up. Congratulations.
Okay, Bob, over to you.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Dan and Steve. Excellent job, and congratulations once again to all of our winning students. And more importantly, thanks to all the competitors in this year's competition. So So let's give them another round of applause. Slides up for a second. Excellent. So before we depart, it takes a mound of talent and energy to pull off an event like this. So it's important for us to stop and pause and recognize all of the energy and all of this talent. So first, I want to recognize the various engineers across and volunteers across our company who pulled together both staff and interns to build the challenges, build the game infrastructure itself, as well as execute what we call the white cell or the administrator team to make sure the game was played fairly and executed on time successfully. You can see here the list of names. I'm not going to read all of them, but those who are here, I'd like you to kind of come up to the front. John Palmer, as I mentioned earlier, he and Robert Clark. Robert, come on up, please. You are our technical leads for the white cell. Brian and Justin and Frank. Online, we have Caleb Wood and Steve Parrish out there on the web. They're in Colorado with Bethany Griswold. And in Bedford, we have Jamie Harding and Eric Lanier. Javier's not here, right? Okay, so for those who are here, let me congratulate each and every one of you for another job well done this last year. Joe, where's Joe? You want to take a photo? Rich, would you like to pose?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Excellent. Thank you. We will be, for those who might be wondering, we'll be giving them awards at a later date in terms of like, so stay tuned for that. And then, in addition to the developers and the engineers executing the event, it takes another amount of individuals and talent to pull off the event throughout the year. We had, at our MITRE Cyber Academy, a great addition this year of all of our training resources. We worked very diligently throughout the year with our partners with IC Squared. You see the names here that we work with on a weekly basis to try to pull together the training resources that were made available to the teams and are now available to all of us in the public. We had our support staff, Lorraine Carlson, Kathleen Evans, who were instrumental in keeping all of us sane and communicating with the teams through the registration process. And then we had our videographers, Paige Mulligan, who cannot be with us this evening, but in the back we have Kelly Palmer, Mark Warnish, can you stand up? No. Adam Cheston. This is your team that was responsible with Paige to pull off this video that you saw and recap the entire event. Finally, to pull off this event tonight, I mentioned Kelly and Frank in the back, but in conjunction, we have Taylor McCorkle and Pat Benito sitting in McLean right now to help execute this successful event. So congratulations. So with that, I'm going to point everyone to MITRECyberacademy.org. It is a set of public resources to help you learn, practice, and compete. It's a wonderful portal. We are going through the process now of open sourcing, and we will eventually release the challenges from this year's competition on our practice range, which is our GitHub. We believe it's important to share our game engine so you can stand up your own CTF events, to share those challenges so coaches, educators, mentors can have resources to help train and teach. And then finally, please stay tuned at our Compete page for the announcements as we plan for 2016. So this concludes our event this evening. I want to once again thank our guest speakers, Steve, Sri, David. Thank you. And finally, if anyone's interested in helping out, we're always looking for volunteers, partners, sponsors, anyone in the industry might want to give opportunities to the students. I think it's a welcoming community. So again, have a great night, safe ride home, and see you next